I never thought I'd be the villain in my own daughter's fairy tale. But there I was, scrolling through Instagram on the night before her wedding, my heart slamming like a gavel in a courtroom nobody wanted to enter. The post hit me like a sucker punch from the grave. My face, pixelated and damning, slapped across her story with a red circle and the words, "No entry," scrawled in white block letters. Like I was some rabid dog they needed to quarantine. In that split second, with the Pacific breeze rattling my motel window in Napa Valley, I made the call that would unravel everything, hitting cancel on every dime I'd sunk into this circus. From the venue deposit to the caterer's final invoice. Because sometimes love isn't a vow, it's a loaded gun. And just like that, the empire I'd built for her came crashing down. Not with a bang, but with the cold click of a button that echoed louder than any priest's "I do." The vineyard sprawled out like a green lie under the relentless California sun. Rows of grapes heavy with a kind of sweetness that hides bitterness underneath. I'd flown in from Seattle 2 days early. My carry-on stuffed with the pearl necklace I'd bought for her, something vintage. From a little shop in Pike Place that reminded me of the summers we'd spent there. Just her and me. Before everything went to hell. Skylar Voss. That's me. 48 years old. A tech consultant who'd clawed her way up from nothing. Trading late nights debugging code for a life where I could give my girl the world. Or so I thought. Lila was 25. My only child. The spitting image of her father with those sharp blue eyes and that laugh that could disarm a room. We'd raised her in the Pacific Northwest rain. But she'd always chased the sun. First to UCLA. Then to this whirlwind romance with Ethan, the golden boy from Silicon Valley who'd promised her the moon on a string of venture capital. Their engagement had been a Pinterest fever dream, drone footage of proposals on yachts, rings that cost more than my first house. And me, I'd footed half the bill without blinking. Because that's what mothers do when their daughters dream big. 300 grand. Give or take. Wired in chunks over the last year. Venue in Napa. Florist from San Francisco. That string quartet flying in from New York. It wasn't about the money. It was about proving I could be the mom she deserved. The one who'd stuck around when her dad bailed. But secrets have a way of fermenting. Don't they? Like that bottle of Cabernet I'd cracked open alone in my room that night. The one that tasted like regret. I'd always known Ethan had his shadows. Whispers from Lila about his late nights at the office, the way he'd ghost her texts during funding rounds. But I chalked it up to startup life. The grind that mirrored my own. What I didn't know, what no one knew until that godforsaken post, was how deep the rot went. It started 6 months back. A phone call from an old colleague in Seattle. "Skylar, you hear about that data breach at Ethan's firm?" He'd said, voice low like he was spilling state secrets. Apex Innovations, Ethan's baby, had leaked user profiles in a hack that made national news. But buried in the fine print, scrubbed from the headlines, was the kicker: my name, tied to a fabricated expense report from a decade ago. Back when I was consulting for a firm that overlapped with Ethan's early investors. It painted me as the fall guy, the rogue contractor who'd siphoned funds to cover a founder's gambling debts. Not Ethan's. Oh no. His mentors. A guy named Harlan Crow, who'd vanished after the scandal, leaving me to testify, to lose my clearance, to rebuild from scratch while Lila was still in diapers. I'd taken the hit for it, silently, because Harlan had been like a father to me, pulled me out of a dead-end job, mentored me through the tech boom. And Ethan? He'd been Harlan's protege, fresh out of Stanford, the kid with the trust fund smile. I'd never connected the dots. Until that call. My colleague had dug deeper. Found emails. "Ethan, covering for Harlan, forging docs to shift blame my way. It wasn't just a mistake, it was a calculated buried job, ensuring Harlan's clean exit while I ate the dirt. And Lila?
She'd known.
Not all of it. Maybe. But enough. Snippets from Ethan, twisted into family lore about how I'd screwed up once. But Mom's tough. Right? That night in the motel. The wine burned going down as I pieced it together. Ethan's rise, built on my ruins. Our family barbecues in Seattle, where he'd charm me with questions about old-school coding, just reconnaissance, making sure the ghosts stayed buried. And Lila, God. My Lila, she'd posted that photo not out of spite, but strategy. Protecting the day, her caption read underneath. All heart emojis and wedding hashtags. But I saw it for what it was, a preemptive strike. Ethan's script. To keep me from spilling at the altar. Because tomorrow, vows exchanged. The merger complete, Lila Voss becoming Lila Hargrove. Heir to Apex's throne, they'd be untouchable. I didn't sleep. Dawn broke with me pacing the thin carpet, phone in hand, apps open to every vendor's portal. By 7 a.m., I'd logged in. $50,000 venue hold.
Gone.
$20,000 flowers.
Poof.
A caterer, DJ, photographer, canceled with a single personal emergency note. No refunds. Terms I'd signed in my doting haze. It felt like treason. My thumb hovering over confirm each time. But the rage was a live wire, sizzling through the betrayal. This wasn't about money, it was restitution. For the job I'd lost. The years scraping by on freelance gigs while they toasted in the valley. For raising her alone, only to watch her choose the snake. The first text hit at 8:15. Lila. Mom? What's going on? The vineyard just called. Everything's off. Then Ethan's. Skylar? This is insane. Talk to us. I let them pile up. Drove my rental Prius down winding roads lined with fog-draped vines. The radio droning NPR segments on corporate ethics, like the universe, was mocking me. By the time I pulled into the parking lot of the rehearsal dinner venue, a swanky barn conversion with exposed beams and Edison bulbs, the chaos was in full swing. Guests milled like stunned cattle. Lila in her blush-pink gown, face streaked with mascara. Ethan barking into his phone. Get the contingency fund. Now he snapped at some lackey. His perfect hair finally askew. I stepped out, heels sinking into the gravel. The pearl necklace heavy around my neck like a noose. Eyes turned, cousins from Tacoma, old sorority sisters. Ethan's venture bros in their slim-fit suits. Whispers rippled. Is that her? The one who bailed? Lila spotted me first, storming over with that fire I'd taught her. The kind that wins boardrooms. What the hell? Mom? You think this is funny? This is my wedding. I met her gaze, steady as the space needle on a clear day. Funny?
No.
Sweetheart. Necessary. Ethan flanked her, arm possessive around her waist. His smile ablaze. Skylar. Let's not do this here. Family drama can wait till after the cake. But it couldn't. Not anymore. I pulled out my phone, screen still glowing with that NO entry post, now buried under a flood of confused comments. You posted this last night.
Public.
To the world. Like I was the monster under the bed. She flushed, glancing at Ethan, who shrugged like it was no big deal. It was a joke.
Mom.
Heat of the moment. You know how you get dropping those old stories. Stirring shit. Old stories. That's what they called it. The testimony that cost me everything. The nights I'd lied to her about why we ate ramen for months. A joke, I echoed, voice flat as Seattle fog. Like the one where your husband framed me for fraud to save his mentor's ass. The barn went pin-drop silent. Ethan's jaw ticked. That tell I'd missed for years, the same one Harlan had when cornered. Skylar. That's ancient history. You were paid off, weren't you? NDA and all. Paid off. Laughter bubbled up, bitter as black coffee. $5,000 and a sorry. Kid. Enough to buy diapers. Not a future. I turned to the crowd. Voices murmuring now. Phones creeping out. This man, your golden boy, forged documents. Buried me so Harlan Crow could jet off to Belize with the company's slush fund. And you, Lila? You sat there last Christmas, listening to him spin it as Mom's bad luck. She recoiled. But her eyes, those damn blue eyes, hardened. You're lying. Ethan told me everything. You took the blame because you owed Harlan. 4. For getting you clean. After Dad. After Dad. The other secret. The one I'd buried deeper than any code.
My ex.
Lila's father. Hadn't just left. He'd OD'd in a Seattle motel. Pills scattered like confetti. I'd cleaned it up. Told her it was a heart attack. Spared her the stain. Harlan had helped, connections to hush it. A new start. But Ethan? He'd twisted it. Whispered to Lila that I'd been the enabler. The reason her dad was gone. Poison. Slow and sweet. You're both liars, I said, voice cracking like thunder over the sound. And this wedding? It's the crown on your con. Merge the families. Seal the deal. Keep the skeletons locked. Ethan stepped forward. Voice oily. You want proof?
Fine.
Harlan's alive. In Cabo. Calls me monthly. Says hi. Even. He smirked, flipping the script like a pro. You think you're the victim? He chose you because you were disposable. A single mom with baggage. Easy mark. The guests split, some gasping, others nodding. Ethan's bros murmuring about crazy exes. Lila grabbed my arm, nails digging in. Stop. You're ruining everything. For what? Revenge? That's not you, Mom. But it was. The Skylar who'd coded through the night, who'd taught her daughter to code too. To never take no for an answer. It is now, I whispered. Pulling free. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called the cops? On me? The irony burned. As they dragged me toward a side room for mediation, Ethan leaned in, breath hot. You think canceling checks it? I've got backups. Investors on speed dial. This wedding happens tomorrow. With or without your petty cash. Petty cash. $300,000. My nest egg. Gone in a digital puff. But as the door clicked shut, locking me in with a concerned aunt, I felt the wire tighten, not around my neck,
but theirs.
Because I'd uploaded everything that morning, emails, ledgers, the works, to a burner account, shared with a journalist buddy at The Verge. Corporate betrayal, how one founder's lie built a billion-dollar empire. Time to drop at noon. The aunt prattled on about forgiveness, but I tuned her out, watching the clock.
Tick. Tock.
Vengeance isn't a sprint, it's a virus. Spreading slow. By midday, the barn was a war zone. Phones buzzed like hornets, guests fleeing calls from publicists. Lila hysterical in a corner booth. Ethan pacing with his lawyer on speaker. Skylar Voss? Yeah. She's credible. Those docs. They're ironclad. The article hit like a Bay Area quake. Shares spiking. Apex stock dipping 5% in after hours. Headline screamed, Tech Darling's dark secret. Framed consultant speaks out. I was released, no charges. Just family matter, and slipped into the vines. The sun dipping low, casting long shadows that danced like accusations. Lila found me there, alone, necklace clutched in my fist.
Mom.
Is it true? Every word, I said, voice raw. I took the fall for him. For you.
Too.
In a way. To keep our world from crumbling. She sank to the dirt, dress pooling like spilled Merlot. He said you were unstable. After Dad. That you'd do anything to control us. Ethan's flip. Again. From charmer to whisperer. Sowing doubt like seeds in fertile soil. He lied to save himself. Harlan's ghost. Pulling strings. But you chose to believe. Tears carved tracks through her makeup. I didn't know. God. The post. It was his idea. Keep her out. Make a statement. I thought it was playful. Playful. Like a fox in the henhouse. And now. She looked up. Eyes fractured prisms. Call it off. The wedding. My heart twisted, mother. Monster.
Both.
Your call.
Kiddo.
But if you walk that aisle, it's with eyes open. Night fell heavy. Stars pricking the velvet sky like distant regrets. The contingency wedding, Vegas chapel. Dawn flight, happened without me. Or so I heard. From the tabloid blurbs that followed. Hargrove heir weds amid scandal. But Lila's text came at 3 a.m. Came home. Alone. Papers served. Thanks.
Mom.
Or sorry. Both. I stared at the screen. Pearls cold in my palm. Vengeance tasted like ash. But freedom? Like the first rain after drought. Yet as dawn crept in, my phone lit up again, not Lila, but an unknown number. Skylar? Harlan Crow. Long time. We need to talk. The twist uncoiled in my gut.
Alive.
Calling. And suddenly, the revenge wasn't over. It was just beginning. Because the man who'd started it all wasn't buried. He was the puppet master. And Ethan's fall? Just Act 1. The call from Harlan came through crackly, like it was bouncing off satellite ghosts over the Baja Peninsula. Skylar.
Darlin'.
Don't hang up. I read the piece. Ballsy move. His voice, that gravelly drawl unchanged after 15 years, slithered through the speaker, wrapping around my throat tighter than the pearls I'd shattered against the motel's sink hours earlier. I was back in my room, the vineyard's chaos a distant hum. But his words yanked me right back to Seattle, '09, the dim-lit conference room, the feds breathing down our necks. Me signing away my future on a dotted line because he'd sworn it was for the family. Family, I spat, pacing the balcony overlooking fog-shrouded hills. You mean the one you torched to light your escape? A chuckle. Low and unrepentant. Touché. But Ethan's the one who dragged you back in. Kid's got ambition. I'll give him that. Framed you neat as a pinstripe suit. Thought he'd buried it forever. And you? Just watched from your hammock in Cabo. Silence. Then a sigh heavy as Pacific fog. Not watched. Orchestrated. Apex was my blueprint. He just stole the ink. But this mess you're doing. Stocks tanking. Board circling. He needs a scapegoat. Guess who?
Me.
Again. The disposable mom. The convenient ghost. Rage flared. Hot and familiar. But laced now with something sharper, clarity. What do you want? Harlan? Absolution? A cut of my bounty? Come south.
We talk.
Face to face. Bring the docs. I've got dirt that'll sink him proper. No half measures. I hung up before the hook set, but it was already lodged. Lila's text burned in my pocket. Forgiveness or fracture. Her words blurring the line. Drive to LAX. Hop a red-eye to Cabo. Or stay. Rebuild with my daughter over takeout foe in Seattle. The American dream's a choose-your-own-adventure. But mine always ended in ruins. By morning, the headlines had evolved. Voss vindicated. Insider claims point to Crow. My journalist pal had struck gold. Anonymous sources, Harlan's feelers. No doubt confirming the fraud. Ethan's role as cleanup crew. Apex issued a statement. Deeply regrettable oversight. Mr. Hargrove on leave pending investigation.
Leave.
Code for lawyered up in a Malibu bunker. Lila called as I packed, voice thick with sleep and sobs.
Mom.
It's everywhere. His parents, they blame me. Said I should have known. Known what? That your fiancé was a snake in chinos. I zipped the suitcase. The pearl shards crunching underfoot. You couldn't have. That's on me for trusting him around you. A pause. The kind that stretches like taffy. Where are you going? Don't disappear. Not again. Again. Like after her dad. I'd vanished into work then. Coding marathons to outrun the grief. Not disappearing. Fixing what I broke. Stay put. We'll talk when I'm back. But Cabo wasn't a fix, it was a fuse. I landed in the swelter of midday. Humidity clinging like guilt. Rented a Jeep that smelled of salt and regret. And drove the coastal road to Harlan's villa, a sprawling white stucco beast perched on cliffs. Infinity pool bleeding into the sea. He waited on the terrace. Older but unbowed, silver hair slicked back, linen shirt unbuttoned to mid-chest, a tumbler of mezcal sweating in his grip. The man who'd mentored me, betted me once in a weak moment, then discarded me like yesterday's debug log. Skylar Voss, he drawled, rising with a creak of wicker. Still got that fire. Hug. I sidestepped, dropping my bag. Talk. He gestured to a table laden with files, yellowed printouts. USB drives glinting like teeth. Ethan's playbook. Every flip. Every frame. He didn't just bury you, he built on it. Used your confession to woo investors. I clean house. Folks. Harlan Crow 2.0. Minus the charm. I flipped a folder. Emails from Ethan to board members. Dated post-hack. Regretfully, our consultant ends. Voss has a history. Recommend full audit trail transfer. My stomach turned. Why show me? You're the architect.
His eyes.
Sharp as agate. Softened fractionally. Because you're the only one who gets it. The grind. The betrayal. I didn't frame you.
Kid.
Ethan did. Forged my sign-off. I found out too late. Already en route south. Thought exile was penance. Penance. The word hung. Controversial as a plea deal. Was he victim or villain? The man who'd saved me from rock bottom after my husband's OD, pulling strings for therapy. A job now claiming innocence? Or the con who'd fled with millions, leaving me to the wolves? Sit, he urged, pouring mezcal. Truth is, I came back for Lila's wedding. Low profile. Watch the kid shine. Then your article drops, boom. Ethan's panicking. Leaking to me. Harlan's behind it all. Flipping again. Painting me the big bad to save his skin. I sipped. The smoke burning clean. And, you want revenge? On your protege? Redemption, he corrected, but his grin said otherwise. We team up. You testify fresh. With these. I surface. Corroborate. Feds love a comeback story. Ethan folds. Apex crumbles. You get your name cleared, plus a slice of the settlement pie. The offer dangled. Seductive as Siren's song.
Million?
Vindication, but the cost dragging Lila deeper. Allying with the devil who'd shaped us both. And if I say no, he leaned in, cologne sharp with citrus. Then he wins. Comes after you harder, slander suits, custody whispers if you push for more dirt. Kid's vulnerable now. Post-nup voided. Lila. The lever he knew would work. I pocketed a drive, the weight settling like lead. One night, I think, dusk painted the sea crimson as we plotted, diagrams on napkins, timelines scrawled in mezcal rings. Harlan spun tales of Ethan's flips, charming investor one day, sabotaging rivals the next, vowing fidelity to Lila, then side chicks in WeWork lounges. Machiavelli in khakis, he laughed, but his eyes held shadows, regret for the boy he'd molded, perhaps. That night, insomnia gripped me on a guest room chaise, waves crashing below like accusations. Texts from Lila piled. Mom? Harlan? Are you with him? How'd she know? Ethan? Sniffing trails. The web tightened, controversial decisions looming. Expose the mentor? Betray the daughter? Or swallow it all for a fragile peace? Dawn brought the call, FBI. Routed through Harlan's contacts. MS. Voss. We've got a warrant on Hargrove. Your evidence sealed it. But Crow's name's in the mix. You coming in? Harlan overheard. Face paling. Tell M I'm cooperating. Full immunity. Immunity.
The flip that stuck in my craw.
He wasn't redeeming, he was running again. Using me as the shield. Rage reignited. But twisted now, with him or against. I booked the flight north. Drive in hand, leaving him with a parting shot. You're not the puppet master anymore. Harlan. I'm cutting strings. Back in Seattle. Rain lashed the windows of my queen and row house. The kind of downpour that drowns secrets. Lila arrived unannounced. Soaked and shivering. Duffel in hand. I left everything. The ring. The lease gone. But Ethan's not done. He's saying you orchestrated it all. For the money. We sat at the kitchen island, mugs of Stumptown steaming between us, the air thick with unsaid apologies. It's more than money, I said, sliding the USB across.
Watch.
Then decide. Her face as she scanned the files. Horror. Then fury. Then that Voss steal. He used me. Groomed me to launder his image. Reformed family man.
And you. God.
Mom. You carried this alone. For you, I whispered. Always. She reached for my hand. The first touch in months that didn't feel like thorns. Then we ended. Together. The deposition was a circus, federal building in San Francisco. Glass walls reflecting the bay's chop. Ethan arrived in a Brioni suit, flanked by sharks from Cooley, his eyes locking on mine with venom pure as aged bourbon. Skylar, he sneered during break. You really think this sticks? Harlan's a ghost. Perjures for fun. But Harlan showed clean-shaven. Suit pressed. Testimony dripping contrition. I take responsibility, he intoned. Voice steady. MS. Voss bore the brunt unjustly. Hargrove executed the cover. The room polarized. Agents nodding. Ethan's team objecting furiously.
Bias.
Crow mentored Voss. Affair. Leverage. Whispers flew. Had we slept together? Was it collusion? The controversy crackled. Headlines brewing. Tech scandal twist. Lovers or liars? Lila testified last. Voice quavering but fierce. He proposed knowing this. Used our wedding as camouflage. Her words hung, dividing the gallery, sympathy for the jilted bride. Suspicion of a vengeful ex. Ethan's cross. You profited. MS. Hargrove. Prenup waived your debts. I didn't know, she shot back. But I stayed blind. That's on me. No one clean. No one pure. As the judge recessed, Ethan cornered me in the hall, mask slipping. You win this. Skylar? Lila's tainted. No Valley firm touches a whistleblower's girl, or a fraudster's wife, I countered. Choose your poison. The climax hit that night, anonymous leak. Ethan's doing, photos of me and Harlan. Post-Cabo drinks. Time-stamped intimate. Voss Crow collusion, the blog screamed. My phone exploded. Lila's fury. Is it true? Board resignations. Even my Seattle clients pulling gigs. Can't risk the optics. I drove to the Golden Gate. Fog swallowing the bridge. Wind whipping like accusations. Jump? No. Too cinematic. Too easy. Instead, I called Harlan. Your leak. Ethan's, he growled. But I can fix, pull more strings.
No.
The decision crystallized. Controversial as hell. Expose him too. Upload the full archive, his slush fund trails, Ethan's forgeries. My original testimony.
Raw.
Unfiltered. Let the public judge. The drop went viral by midnight. Tech takedown trending. X threads dissecting every flip. Ethan the opportunist. Harlan the enabler. Me the reluctant avenger. Lila texted. Saw it.
Proud. Scared.
But we're in this. In this. Mother and daughter. Fractured but fusing. Yet the twist waited in the Dawn server logs, traced by a hacker pal. The leak wasn't Ethan's. Harlan. Final flip. Burning us to save his skin. Immunity his grail. He'd fed Ethan the photos. Positioned himself the martyr. Rage crested, but ebbed into exhaustion. Call the agents?
Sue?
Or let karma's code run its course? I chose the latter. Deleting the number. Blocking the ghosts. Lila and I decamped to a cabin on the Olympic Peninsula. Rainforest cocooning us. No empire. No vows, just us. Debugging life one line at a time. Months later, Apex folded, Ethan indicted, Harlan deported. A plea that spared jail, but stripped fortunes. Lila started her own startup. Ethical AI for whistleblowers.
Me?
Back to consulting. Scars as credentials. Happy? Tragic? You tell me. In America, revenge is a mirror, reflects the monster you fear. Or the hero you need. We got both. And damn if it didn't feel like justice. The cabin smelled of pine sap and fresh brewed coffee, the kind that percolates slow and strong, mirroring the way truths finally seep in after years of pressure. It was our third week in the Olympics. Lila and I holed up like fugitives in flannel, the world outside a blur of firs and fern under perpetual drizzle. She'd claimed the loft, her laptop's glow flickering late into nights spent coding what she called BossGuard, an app to flag corporate BS before it buries you. I'd taken the main room, poring over freelance bids, but mostly staring at the wood stove, flames dancing like the doubts that wouldn't quit. Harlan's betrayal, that final, serpentine twist, had landed like a gut punch nobody saw coming. The photos?
Doctored.
Sure. But timed to perfection, right after my full upload, when scrutiny was hottest. He played both sides masterfully, testifying just enough to seem cooperative, then leaking to Ethan to muddy the waters, positioning himself as the framed elder statesman, Fed's botted hook, line, and extradition waiver. Last I'd heard, he was back in some gated Baja enclave, writing a memoir titled Silicon Shadows, A Founder's Redemption. Bestseller potential, if the irony didn't choke readers first. Lila knew none of the gritty endgame. Not yet. She'd pieced together the headlines: Ethan's plea deal, 2 years probation, $10 million restitution. Apex's carcass carved up by vultures. But Harlan's role? I'd sanitized it. Told her he slipped away, a ghost fading into irrelevance. Motherly mercy. Or cowardice. In the quiet hours, when the rain tapped Morse code on the tin roof, I wondered. She'd forgiven me my secrets once. Could she stomach this one?
Mom?
Earth to Skylar. Her voice pulled me back, bare feet padding down the creaky stairs. 25 going on timeless, hair tousled from sleep, wearing my old Seahawks hoodie that swallowed her frame. She slid onto the stool across the island, mug in hand. You're brooding again.
Spill.
I stirred my coffee, the spoon clinking like a gavel. Just bids. Slow month. Liar. She grinned. That flash of mischief I'd missed, the one from childhood forts in Discovery Park. Before boys and betrayals. It's Harlan, isn't it? I Googled. Quiet exit. No charges. Smells like strings pulled. Damn her coder's nose for patterns. I set the mug down, the steam curling like a confession.
Yeah.
He flipped one last time. Leaked the pics to Ethan. Covered his ass. Immunity's a hell of a drug. Her face fell. Not shock, but sorrow, deep, oceanic. And you didn't tell me? We were supposed to do this together. Together doesn't mean dragging you through every sewer grate. I reached for her hand, found it warm, steady. You'd just gotten your feet under you. New start. No ghosts. She pulled back, eyes storming. Ghosts?
Mom.
That's all this was. Dad's death. Your bad luck, job loss. Ethan's oversights. You carried them solo, like some martyr in a Nora Ephron flick. But we're not in When Harry Met Sally. This is our story, messy. American as apple pie laced with arsenic. The word stung.
True as rain.
I'd always seen myself as the shield, the silent fixer, hallmark of the bootstrapped mom, raised on Reagan-era grit and griddle cakes. But shields crack, and hers had shattered spectacularly at that vineyard. You're right. Habit. But it's done. Harlan's out, deported. Broke as far as I know. Ethan's paying up. Check started hitting last week. She nodded, but the fire lingered. And us? What's next? I mean, Voss guards got beta users, whistleblowers from Uber, that Boeing mess. But I can't code forever without processing.
Processing.
The word hung, inviting the dive. We spent the afternoon hiking the moss-draped trails, boots squelching in mud, air thick with earth and unspoken. She led, uncharacteristically, pausing at an overlook where the sound glittered gray under low clouds. Ethan texted. From jail timeout.
I guess.
Wants to explain. Says he loved me. That you poisoned it. My laugh barked, startling a raven from the branches. Loved? Like a VC loves a unicorn, till the valuation dips. But inside, the old wound throbbed. Ethan hadn't just betrayed me, he'd wormed into her heart, flipped her against the woman who'd birthed her. You gonna respond? She shrugged, wind tugging her hair. Maybe. Closure. Not candles. But first you. What Harlan did. It wasn't just to you. He shaped Ethan, who shaped me. Like a bad algorithm. Propagating errors. Errors, I echoed. The tech term fitting like a glitchy API. Harlan's mentorship. Brilliant code. Rotten ethics. He'd taught me firewalls, but not how to spot the backdoor in a friend's smile. Want the full download? No filters. By dusk, we were back inside. Fire crackling. Laptop open to scan docs I'd hoarded like talismans. I walked her through it, the '09 fraud. My forged confession. Harlan's flight. Ethan's cover-up. The whispers that painted me unstable post-dad. Her reactions layered. Gasps at the ledgers. Tears at my trial transcript. Fury at a photo of young Ethan shaking Harlan's hand. Grins like wolves. Jesus.
Mom.
You were.
What?
33? Raising me solo. Testifying in that Shark Tank. She slammed the lid. Eyes blazing. Why not fight harder? Sue then? Survival, I said simply. You were 3. Diapers don't wait for appeals. Harlan promised quiet resolution, got me consulting gigs under the table. It was enough. Enough, she paced. Shadows leaping. It was enabling. And now, we sue the ghost. The idea ignited. Controversial spark in the gloom. Harlan's memoir deal, $2M advance. Per variety, sat like low-hanging fruit. Defamation suit? Breach of NDA? But dragging it public again, more headlines. More doubt on Lila's tainted resume. Or let it lie. Claim our win? She decided. Fierce as a commit button. We fight. Not for money, for the story. Rewrite it. Podcast. Maybe. Framed. A mother's code. Make it ours. American as hell. Turn trauma to IP. Betrayal to brand. I nodded. The weight lifting fractionally. Partners? Co-founders. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Hikes morphing to strategy sessions. Rain to tentative sun. Lila's app launched beta. Users trickling in. Nurses whistleblowing on understaffing. Coders flagging biased algorithms. Mine? A gig auditing ethics for a Seattle fintech. Scars as selling point. You've been there, the CEO said over Zoom. We need that edge. But peace is fragile code.
Prone to exploits.
The exploit came via certified mail, summons from Ethan's estate. Not him, his parents. The Hargroves. Old money from Pasadena oil turned VC vipers. Slander. Intentional infliction. They'd spun it, My vendetta had destroyed their son's future, voided his IPO dreams. Demands $5 million, or trial in Orange County, where juries favored the aggrieved heir. Lila found me on the porch, envelope shredded in my lap. Fight. Always. But doubt crept. Court meant dredging Dad's OD. My instability, Harlan's affair. Polarizing as a Trump rally. Was I avenger or ambulance chaser? The hearing was a televised farce. OC courtroom. Palm trees swaying outside like mocking fans. Hargrove's counsel, a silver fox from O'Melveny, painted me as the harpy. MS. Voss cancelled a wedding out of spite. Leaked proprietary docs for clout. Exhibits. My NO entry screenshot. Twisted as premeditation. My turn. Cross-exam. Voice steady. Spite? Try self-defense. Your son framed me. Federal crime. I cancelled to stop the con. Not crash the party. Lila testified. Unflinching, he proposed knowing the fraud. Used our love as leverage. The gallery murmured, sympathy shifting. But Hargrove matriarch's tears tugged heartstrings. Our boy, ruined by lies. Harlan even appeared. Virtual from Mexico, subpoenaed.
Smirking.
Voss is truthful. But Hargrove? Ambitious to a fault. Flip again? Or genuine? Jurors whispered. Divided. The twist dropped mid-trial. Leaked audio. Ethan's voice to a cellmate, bragging. Skylar thought she won? Harlan and I had the contingencies. She sues. We counter-sue till she's dust. Planted? By whom? Harlan. Flipping to bury us both? Or Ethan? Desperate Hail Mary? Chaos erupted. Mistrial motions. Media frenzy. Who flipped trending? Debates raging. Victim or vigilante? Lila and I holed up in a motel, watching from afar. Her head on my shoulder. Doesn't matter, she murmured. We exposed the code. That's the win. The case settled out of court. Hargrove's payout to us. $1 million split. Gag, order sealing the rest. Harlan's memoir tanked. Advance clawed back amid credibility issues. Ethan? Disbarred from VC. Last seen slinging lattes in Echo Park. Back in the cabin. Snow dusting the eaves. Our first white Christmas in years. We raised mugs to go Spanished. Lila's app hit 10K users, mine. A book deal for backdoor betrayals. Happy ending? In the gray Pacific Northwest. It's more like truce, scarred, but standing. But as fireworks popped over the sound, my phone buzzed. Unknown. Harlan's prefix. Skylar? One last play. Ethan's got a new venture. Your girl's on the investor list. Care, to consult. The cycle tempted. Eternal as beta loops.
Delete?
Or dive back in. I hit block. Pulled Lila close. To new code, I toasted. She clinked, eyes sparkling. Bugs and all. And in that moment, revenge faded, not to forgiveness, but forward motion. Controversial? Hell yes. But ours.